Pay close attention, because this is the truth that no one has ever been brave enough to tell you. A quantum secret is so strong that once you remember it, nothing or anyone will ever be able to change your reality again. Since the 1400s, this secret has been kept hidden from everyone, and Thoth's ancient knowledge told them exactly where to look for it. Not so fast. This isn't just old history. I am going to show you how your consciousness will quantum leap as soon as you understand this. Your soul will remember that it is truly limitless. The things in your life that are making you feel lost, stuck, or hurt will start to get back in order, naturally. Do you understand why you feel so empty? That feeling in your chest that something is missing? The entire world, the 3D reality you see, has been programmed to make you forget your true power. Their lesson was to make you small and fit in a box. And as long as you remember, you have to do what they say. You take in. You hide who you really are. Today, though, things are different. I'm going to show you where Thoth's key is hidden. You are looking for love, peace, and plenty in the world, but you already have them inside you as a quantum possibility, waiting for you to notice them. I'll also tell you where that memory is kept at the end of this video. Not in a holy book or an old temple, but in something you carry with you all the time and don't even notice. Are you all set? Since there is no turning back once your consciousness hears this. Send this message to the first person that comes to mind before we go any further. When you share this, you're not just sending a video. You're also sending a quantum signal to another soul that is ready for this activation. Do it right now to make this awakening stronger. Your consciousness has been locked away for hundreds of years. Now that you know where it is, it's time to find it. And the coolest thing is, oceans and mountains kept different civilizations from meeting, but they all spoke of the same truth. How is that possible? Not even a phone or the internet worked. Still, the wise people in Egypt, India, and Greece said that the soul doesn't awaken at birth. It goes to sleep. These days, birth is the start of everything. But in these old cultures, birth marked the start of the great forgetting. These people thought that your consciousness came from the quantum field, which is where all potential comes together. In that place, there was no separation, and your core frequency, or memory of your true self, was alive and beating. But something happens when they enter a physical body. It's like someone put a veil over your attention, like there was a fog over what you used to know. Thoth told people in Egypt that the body itself is not the problem. The problem is that people think they are only the body. In India, wise people from long ago called this forgetting Maya, which means the great illusion of a solid, separate world. The soul, according to Greek philosophers, forgot its divine, energetic origin and fell into a cycle of repetition. Are you seeing the link? The truth is the same for everyone. But there's something even stranger. Of course, they didn't just write this down for anyone. The master taught this knowledge to his or her student in secret, in temple rooms that not many people were allowed to enter. Why? Because they knew some people weren't ready yet. If a normal person, who wasn't ready, got access to this information, their ego or 3D identity could use it to feel better about itself, to control others, or to escape reality instead of changing it. These masters understood that only when the heart is clear can true wisdom, or the ability to consciously create reality, be applied. Just wanting to know isn't enough. You need to be ready to live what you learn. That's why silence kept this secret safe in the temples. Because being quiet doesn't mean something bad. People who were looking for quick answers were not satisfied. Still, those who didn't speak heard something that wasn't written down anywhere. But what did really happen in those temples? What kind of event could finally help a soul or consciousness remember who it is? That's what you're about to find out. Subscribe to this channel right away to make sure you stay in touch with this frequency. It's more than just getting a notification when you subscribe. It's a choice to align your energy field with these truths, which creates a stable quantum coherence that helps you remember. When those temple doors shut behind the chosen ones, there wasn't a ceremony going on inside. There were no people there. There was no sound and no light. Your consciousness had to forget who it thought it was before it could remember what it was. The initiates were taken to a place that was dark, quiet, and had no sound or light. They were put into a deep state of stillness there. Over time, something inside them started to fall apart. Not their body, but the image they had lived up to for years. I am weak. I am a failure. I am a victim. I am a professional. I am a parent. Everything they said about themselves started to fall apart. No longer did the name, the job, the status, or the opinions matter. Thoth taught that this was the most important time. The moment the ego construct, the 3D identity, tried to fight back when it realized it was no longer in charge. To keep the initiate connected to the old self, it would give them fears, doubts, and false visions. For the ego, falling apart is the same thing as dying. And this is the most shocking part. The initiate didn't learn anything new. No one talked about what life is all about. Because real quantum awareness and knowledge don't come from outside sources. It comes when you get rid of everything that isn't true. What's left is what was there all along. Imagine being in that complete void. The field with no points, no names, beliefs, or stories to hold on to. In front of your own consciousness, just you. For many, this was too much to bear. Some gave up. But the few people who stayed went through a quantum leap. They could remember. It was a truth that was so deep that words could not describe it. For a split second, it seemed like everything made sense. They understood that they were not the character in the story, but the consciousness that was watching it. Not everyone was ready, though. Now Thoth talks about the danger. It was risky to cross that portal without being ready. If you remember too soon, without clearing your energy field first, it could break your mind. Imagine someone who has unprocessed low-frequency imprints, which are another word for traumas, and all of a sudden, they could connect to the quantum field. It's too much. The risk was to get lost in the void, because you can't take back what you saw on the other side. What if, though, your mind twists what your soul saw, making another illusion instead of freedom? In order to avoid this, the masters said, do not seek this out of curiosity. If you try to remember who you are before getting rid of the energetic clutter, you might make things even more confusing. That's the first thing that stands in your way. You know what could happen if you try to connect with your true self before you're ready. A wall that you can't see that controls almost everything in your life. It was known as the lie of the self by Thoth. This is where many people give up. Because who has the guts to look themselves in the mirror and say they've been lying to themselves their whole lives? First, there's that wall. It's not outside. It's inside. It's everything you think you are added up. You were conditioned from a very young age. A specific frequency was programmed into your body. Your boss told you what to think about love, getting things done, failing, and yourself. You thought it was true. It wasn't because you were weak, but because no one taught you to question it. I want to know, how many times have you stopped to think about your own thoughts today? How many times have you asked them where they're from? Because a lot of the things you think every day aren't your own ideas. They happen automatically over and over. They are silent frequency loops in your mind, like an app that drains all your energy that you don't even know is open. Now comes the first real practice. There's no magic. It is clear, simple, and hard. Pay attention to a bad thought. I'm not good enough, or it will never work, are two that come up all the time. Now ask yourself what Thoth taught his followers. Is this frequency really mine? Or did someone else give it to me? This question may seem easy, but it can help you release energy that you've been holding on to for years. Since a lot of your emotional pain wasn't coming from who you are, but from things you learned, like a show you just tuned into, something breaks. There is no destruction. That's freedom. Say, I am reclaiming my own frequency in the comments below if this part speaks to you. This statement should be your first act of energetic sovereignty that you are aware of. Writing these words tells the quantum field that you are no longer a passive receiver of old programming, but rather that you are the creator of your own mind and are aware of it. Click like if you felt that shift. This action can be seen as a powerful yes to the universe. You send a pulse of coherence into your own quantum field by physically anchoring your desire to break free. A chain breaks with every thought you consciously observe. But now comes the tricky part. It is your 3D identity, the ego, that will fight. It will try to make you think that giving up these beliefs is bad for you. It'll say, without these thoughts, you'll lose who you are. But the truth is that those thoughts were never you. They were just noise that got in the way of your real signal. Something starts to happen in the empty space between those thoughts. There is silence when the old stories end. It's scary at first to be so quiet. You quickly learn, though, that silence isn't empty. It's empty space. That's the quantum possibility space where something old could come back. Since you were born, something has been sleeping. When this first illusion falls, it starts to wake up. Something strange happens when that memory starts to come back to you. You understand that there is a way to see that is not through your eyes for the first time. A quiet awareness that doesn't think about or judge anything. It just knows. It was known as the single eye by Thoth. If you're in a state of quantum perception, you don't need to be told what's true because you feel it before you think it. You may have already been through this. It's like when you walk into a room, you just know something is wrong. Or you meet someone and understand something is being kept from you, even though they are polite. That's how your single eye works. It's your consciousness picking up on the waveform, which is the energetic signature of reality, before it falls apart into a 3D fact. But why does this sense not work well for most people? Because you learn to believe what you think more than what you feel. People praised data and forgot about the quiet quantum intuition that has always been there. The trouble is that you can only see the surface. The single eye can feel what's really going on. For the first easy exercise, here it is. Take a moment to close your eyes. Don't keep looking for answers. Stop making noise. To begin, just be quiet for 10 seconds. Do not expect anything. Feel. Something comes out of that tiny bit of silence. It might feel like nothing at first. That nothing is everything, though. It is the field with no points. In that stillness, the single eye comes to life. Why is this so important? Because as long as you think about answers, all you'll find are old ideas that have been used before. Things don't come to you as thoughts, though, when you start to feel with this direct quantum perception. They show up as clear. Something that is so clear that it doesn't need words to explain it. If this inner knowing has happened to you, say in the comments, "I trust my silent clarity." Let this act hold your soul's vibration in place. The universe hears that you are shifting your attention from the 3D world of logic outside of you to the quantum perception of yourself. You remember how to feel the truth in this moment. As you connect with this inner vision, click like to make it even clearer. When you do this, a quantum resonance signal is sent through your nervous system. This signal strengthens the neural pathways that support this higher perception. However, this view is just the start. It's like letting air into a door. It lets light in. But there's something more hidden on the other side. Because the first step is to understand the truth. It's a whole different thing to live from it. You are the only one who can feel that next step. It's the unique sound your soul makes. Something inside you has been vibrating since the beginning. It's not a voice that talks. It is a frequency of silence. A vibration that is so close to people that they don't even notice it their whole lives. Thoth called it the name that cannot be seen. This isn't a name like John or Mary. The electromagnetic signature of your soul is what makes you unique. It's the sound that, without a single letter, says everything about who you are. You may have felt it already. That split second when, even though nothing has changed outside, everything feels right. When your mind is foggy but something inside you knows what to do, that strong intuition can come from nowhere. These little gaps of silence are where this vibration can be heard. Not as an idea, but as a sure thing that you can't deny. This name doesn't limit you like the labels they gave you, so we call it the invisible name. Your job or past don't make you who you are. It's the pure vibration of who you are. In the quantum field, it's your soul's mark. It can't be copied by anyone else. It's very much yours. The most crazy thing is that you've heard this sound before, not with your ears, but with your heart. It has been calling to you ever since you were born. There was 3D static and worries in the world, though, which drowned it out. But it didn't go away. It just went to sleep and waited for you to make enough noise to hear it again. And your radio dial changes when you hear that sound inside. You understand that the answers you were looking for outside were all along there. That empty feeling wasn't from not having something. It was from not having this inner connection. But pay attention. It does more than just bring peace when that core frequency wakes up. Everything that has been hidden starts to come to light. Even the parts you tried to forget. Traumas, fears, and memories that hurt. It all starts to go up. The frequency of your soul does more than just remind you of who you are. It also brings up the things you tried to delete. That's the door you need to go through next. When the quiet sound of your soul starts to get stronger, something has to happen. You remember your true, limitless self, but you also remember the things that hurt you. Because there is no real light that doesn't shine on the dark things too. This is where a lot of people give up. Peace is easy to want, but not everyone is ready to face their pain. That's what Thoth called this process of cleaning the soul. I want you to think of it as energetic clearing, though. In no way is it a punishment. It cleans you naturally. Think of your consciousness as a river that has become full of rocks and other things that don't belong, like the dense, low-frequency imprints of trauma and fear. It's still there, but the water, your life force, is blocked. This process of clearing is just letting the water flow freely again. But you have to be brave to see what's been crammed in there. What are these hurts? These are the hurts you tried to forget. The words that make you hurt. When things happened that made you feel like you weren't good enough or worthy of love, that stuff was saved and hidden because it hurt too much to remember. But here's the most important thing I learned. You are only in pain because you are resisting it. The pain gets worse every time you run away from it. When you hide how you feel, it builds up in your energy field and makes it heavy. But something different happens when you choose to look at it, to watch it without judging it. The pain starts to go away, not because you fight it, but because you accept it. You finally let that energy move. This is like telling yourself, yes, that did happen. Yes, I did feel that. But that energetic mark doesn't make me who I am now. That's when the pain loses its power. It stops being a prison and turns into a memory. This is a strong and deep truth. Post this affirmation in the comments if you're ready to heal and move on. My observation is my liberation. By typing this, you are making the choice to stop fighting your past. By being brave enough to see what hurts, you tell your own energy field that you are ready for that energy to dissolve. Click like right now if you want to let go of this old energy. You can align your electromagnetic signature with the frequency of healing with this simple click. You are telling your body that it is okay to start this quantum reset. Do you know what happens when the cleaning begins? Your soul or quantum self starts to run your life. Your mind stops being in charge for the first time and just acts as a tool. There is a silence inside you that is unlike anything you've ever felt before. It's not nothing, it's being full. It's the freedom from having your thoughts control you. What about the mind that was in charge all this time? Will it just go away? Or will it try to get back in charge? You've been taking away the veils up until now. But once those veils fall away and your true consciousness comes to light, there is no going back. Things in your mind are no longer controlling your life. You start to live a life that is guided by consciousness instead of fear, which is a rare thing. It was known as the waking trance by Thoth. I call it the observer state, though. You are more aware than ever here. There are no longer any emotional waves or anxious thoughts pulling your soul, your quantum self, around. It sees and feels everything. Nothing can get you out of the deep silence inside. It's like you're in a loud crowd. It's not a way to get away from life. It's living life to the fullest. Even though you're no longer a character stuck in a story, you are still facing problems. But now you are an outsider watching the scene play out. You don't believe everything your mind tells you anymore, but it still thinks. You still feel things, but you don't automatically react to them. You feel things, but they don't swallow you up. And then something strange happens. Time slows down. That feeling of always having to rush, being late and not having enough time goes away. In the field of quantum physics, this is known as temporal flexibility. They say that when you are fully in the now, you are not bound by linear time. You are working in the quantum field, which has all time at the same time. This means that the feelings that used to control you are no longer strong. Because you see it coming and let it go, your anger doesn't have power over you. Fear doesn't hold you back because you know it's just a thought trying to take you away from the present. This is freedom inside. This is the act of conscious creation. You are no longer responding to the real world. You decide what to say next. This is the power that your ego could never give you. In the comments, say this truth. I am the conscious observer. If this feeling of inner freedom calls to you, let this be a quantum statement of who you really are. You're the sky, not the storm. By writing this, you connect with the calm, unmoved part of yourself that just watches and decides what will happen next. Click like if you're ready to live from this observer state. This can be a powerful way to stay in the now. Your consciousness is being told that you are no longer a part of 3D reality. Instead, you are the quantum observer who controls it. And the way you see the world changes. Someone is no longer an enemy or a threat to you. You understand that everyone is just carrying their own energetic trash or forgetting. And that makes real compassion come out. Is it possible to live like this all the time, though? In the real world? The crazy traffic, the tight deadlines, and the disagreements? This is where most people get lost. The mind starts to try to take back control after being quiet. It says, "This is nice, but it doesn't work in the real world." And once you believe that, you fall back into the old pattern. Because getting up isn't the real problem. It's hard to stay awake in the middle of all the chaos. When you close your eyes and are alone, it's easy to remember who you are. When you open your eyes and hear the noise again, it's really hard to hold on to that memory while everything else tries to erase it. He said, "The true alchemist is the one who walks awake among the asleep and doesn't let them put him back to sleep." Don't worry, the world won't end. The demands keep coming. The news keeps talking about fear and lack. This is the collective's low-frequency static. But this is where you decide who is in charge, the high frequency of your soul or the static of the world. In real life, this starts with little things. The first is being aware of being there. Being where your body is what this means. You should be there if you're washing dishes. Do not let your thoughts wander. It may sound easy, but it takes a lot of practice. The second is being quiet on purpose. There can be a space of silence inside you, even when there is a lot of noise going on. It's the short time between the stimulus, what happens, and your response. You make your own reality there instead of just reacting to it. The third is the use of energy. Your vibration is raised by everything you see, hear, and say. Your frequency goes down if you read news that makes you afraid. Being around people who complain all the time makes you tired. Quantum protection is demonstrated by the choices you make. This practice changes your life over time. The things that used to bother you no longer do. When someone used to bother you, they no longer do because your peace doesn't depend on them. The mind doesn't like giving up control, though. It will try to make you believe this is not true. You need to remember who is in charge at that time. Your view will grow if you keep doing this. You start to remember things that you thought were gone. Dreams become very real. Intuitions become strong, and you start to feel like you've been here before. These aren't just thoughts. Your consciousness is starting to get information from different times. Being in touch with the quantum entanglement of your soul's journey includes experiences from what you could call past lives. You know that this life is just a small comma in a much longer piece of writing. When old memories come back to you, they don't come in a logical or organized way. They come in pieces and as feelings that you can't explain. A lot of people trip here. When they feel like they don't know what to do, they run outside to find books, gurus, and more courses. They give up their power to someone else in a desperate attempt to make sense of how they feel. But Thoth made it clear. The real master, the one who can show you the way, has never been outside. He's been inside all along. And he doesn't talk like a person. Your awakened consciousness is how he talks to you. This inner master is the link between you and the quantum field. The quantum compass is it. This voice inside you doesn't make sense. It talks through truths that are felt. It shows up as the sureness that you have before you even think about something. Even when your mind is screaming with fear, That peace will tell you that you're on the right track. How do you get to this voice? Not by trying to find out more, but by making your mind quieter. So here's the task. Before you make a choice, pause. Close your eyes. Take deep breaths. Feel, do not think. Feel. What fills that empty space before your mind starts to argue? That's the voice. It won't try to turn you around. It will just show you. Say in the comments, "My inner compass leads the way," if you're ready to stop looking outside and start listening inside. There is more to this than just words. There is an energetic alignment. It's a conscious choice to disconnect from the world's noise and tune your radio dial to the clear, true frequency of your own quantum self. You'll notice that this voice doesn't instantly make you feel better over time. It doesn't always lead to the easiest path because it doesn't want you to be comfortable. It wants you to change, and it's not always easy to remember things. Thoth thought this was where the hardest test would start. The mind knows it's losing control when you start to trust this voice inside you. When that happens, it sets its smartest trap. It wears a spiritual mask. It says in a low voice, "You're different now. You know more now. You are now higher than them." If you think that, you'll fall into the spiritual ego trap, which many people fall into. We've reached the most dangerous part of the trip, the one that Thoth named the final enemy. An enemy that doesn't scream, but a whisper from inside. That's the ego, but not the simple ego. Our subject is the ego that wears a light mask. That's very dangerous. Thoth said that the last trap is not in the world. It's in the quiet pride that comes up when someone thinks they're unique because they woke up. Lack of knowledge is not the real prison. It's pride that looks like wisdom. The ego doesn't go away. It just changes what it looks like. It takes off the victim mask and puts on the purity robe. Behind the mask, though, it is still hungry for separation. "I am an awakened being, different from those who are still asleep," is the moment you realize you are in the trap. Because there is no quantum coherence where there is separation, and where things don't make sense, there isn't real enlightenment. Spiritual judgment is the reason why so many people who try to follow the light end up making more darkness. They get information and transformation mixed up. They forget that real light doesn't shout or act proud. It's just there, lighting up everything around it without being noticed. How can you tell if you're in this game? When you want to tell other people how to live, that's when your spiritual ego comes out. When you judge people in silence for being stuck in habits you've overcome. Real light doesn't need anyone to follow it. It walks quietly. You need to be someone special, even if it's just spiritually special. When you let go of that need, you reach true transcendence. When you stop trying to be someone else and just are, you don't have to fight your ego. You just stop giving it food. How does it get food? Compare and contrast. The ego goes hungry when you stop comparing your growth to that of other people. But there is one more test. Must you change someone to love them if they are still lost? Can you see the same value in someone who is just starting out as you do in yourself? If you said yes, you have started to take off the last mask of the ego. This is the last obstacle. Click like as a sign of real power and humility. By aligning your heart's frequency with the unified field, you choose love over the ego's need to be unique and unity over separation. True love that doesn't depend on anything else is the highest frequency of the unified field. Something quiet takes place at that moment. The ego was hoping for a big show, but what seems to be there is a deep inner silence. That's when you realize that you already had everything you were looking for. not as a success, but as a presence that would never go away. This was what Thoth called conscious unity. Between you and the universe, there is no longer any separation. There is no longer a seeker or sought. You know that you're not a very small part of things. You are the whole ocean, the quantum field, living in a single drop, your body. You no longer need answers because you know that life is the answer. There is only being, so there are no more questions. How does this show up in your everyday life? In a way that might surprise you. It's not a state of mind where you float away. On the other hand, conscious unity shows up when you breathe with presence. As you drink water, think about the miracle that is that simple act. Every normal action turns into a holy act. It didn't change. Your observation of it did. God is no longer separate from everyday life. It's life. There's no need for rituals to feel close. Being fully where you are is enough. You don't need to be anywhere else. In this state, everything is very simple. Thoth said, "To live naturally is the highest form of knowledge. Not with apathy, but with giving up. To accept life as it is and not fight it." The energy from the source flows freely where there is no resistance. This is where a lot of people go wrong. You don't have to leave the world to go back to the source. It changes the way you live there. Though things still happen, you are not as lost in them. You watch and take part, but you no longer feel like you belong with them. When you get to this point, Thoth tells you the secret he never wrote down. There is no secret code. It's a lot easier to understand, which makes it deep. Nothing can be lost in the soul, Thoth said. You can remember everything. All of your knowledge and connection to the source have been with you since before you were born. The truth never left you, even if everything else did. It was just hidden by the static of forgetting. It's not a mental process to remember things. There is a quantum recognition. It's like putting on a light when it's dark. There is nothing new made by the light. It only shows what was there all along. Now, finally, something happens after everything you've been through. Clearing your mind, getting past the illusions, and touching the soul's long-lost memory. There is a living memory there, an event that changes everything about you. This is when you understand that you are not the character. You're not the fear. You're not the hurt. You were the one who saw everything. It was the consciousness that none of it ever touched, even as you moved through it. You are the sky that doesn't change when the clouds go by. This is the real secret that you can't tell anyone, the one they hid. When a person remembers who they really are, they become an infinite quantum consciousness that can't be controlled. You are no longer vulnerable to outside forces, limiting beliefs, or fears that are put on you. It's impossible to control the soul once it remembers that it is the conscious observer. Because power doesn't come from outside. It was never there. It has always been inside you, waiting for you to stop and just notice it. At this point, fear goes away. Since there's nothing left to guard, there's nothing more to look for. Now this is complete freedom. Freedom from being locked up by something, not freedom to do whatever you want. You will still be happy and sad. Now you know that it's all just a temporary dance of energy and that it can't affect the silent, infinite you that is watching it. Your soul is ready if you've made it this far. In the comments below, please affirm this last, strong truth. I am remembering who I truly am. Be aware that this is your quantum leap. By bringing this awareness from the quantum field into your physical world, you are telling everything that the great forgetting is over. You're awake. As your last act of commitment, Subscribe to make this awakening last. This makes an energetic link to this frequency that lasts. So your consciousness keeps getting these coherence upgrades even as you get used to your new reality. Also, I've put a special video on the screen for you before you leave. That's the next key. I'll meet you there after you click it. One last time, please share this message. You send a coherent wave of light through the collective consciousness every time you share. When you send a video, you also turn on the quantum grid, which makes this leap easier for everyone. Your part is very important.